And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. We're presented by LaBear's Casino. Ronnie Rance joining me alongside. I'm alongside Tommy Chrysan, TK over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood off Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge, right near Airline and Parkview Baptist. I'm in an undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Go to lasportshall.com for more info on the 2025 Hall of Fame class, the last weekend in June. Tons of events. Get your tickets online. I talked to one of the Hall of Famers last night, Joe Sherman, Delgado baseball coach, who will be getting inducted in 2025. Joe and I talked over the big news. Blake Dean, the UNO baseball coach, is stepping down. We're presented by LaBear's, as we told you. Blake Dean, UNO baseball coach. You know, Blake Dean, one of the top 3 or 4 left-handed hitters at LSU in school's history, was a big part and a big reason why LSU won that 09 national championship, played 4 years for the Tigers, all over the record books. And of course, has done a great job as a UNO baseball coach. I want to say for about 9 years, seems
Yes.
about right.
Yeah.
And shockingly resigned yesterday. I mean, we are a month away from their season starting. Dax Norris, the former Alabama Crimson Tide, great player and big leaguer and all that, he's going to step up and take over. He's been in the program for a few years, and as an assistant, he's going to be the head coach. But we hope to get Blake Dean on our show this Saturday on Sports Church Radio, which will air from 10 to noon on ESPN in Lake Charles, Lafayette, and Baton Rouge. We hope to get Blake Dean on to talk a little more about his decision and just college baseball, LSU baseball, et cetera, on Saturday. But from everything we've heard, just resigned because UNO athletics is just a mess, Tommy. I mean, the school has less than 5,000 students. A once giant school in New Orleans. Funding has been whacked across athletics multiple times over the last few years. And I think it's just UNO's future as an athletic program is in jeopardy. And the budget that, Blake's having to fire people, cut their pay, cut his own pay. That's just not something he wants to be a part of. He had an opportunity to get out and get into private business, an opportunity that just was too good. We'll get TK back on here in just a second, but that's the big news out of the world. Go ahead, TK.
Yeah. Anyway, UNO budget is just, as I'm having issues with the laptop here. Let me get
Well,
this fixed.
we
There
can
we
hear
go.
you.
All right.
We
No,
can.
no. There we go. All right. The UNO budget is less than the budget for Sports Shorts Daily, and I say that facetiously, but not really. And I think their future, their athletic department is definitely in jeopardy. There's no question about that. Not just baseball. And Blake Dean, he get a couple of good players. They immediately leave in the portal the last couple of years. They just don't have any money in UNO athletics, and that's probably played a large role in what Blake Dean does, especially with the timing here. It's not like he said, "Hey, at the end of June, I'm moving on." So we'll just have to adjust on that.
We can hear you perfect, TK. Just can't see you. Hopefully, we'll get you in a second. So other news besides that locally in the world of college baseball is LSU basketball. The Tigers were a 1.5-point dog last night at home against Arkansas. The scenario last night in the PMAC, Tigers 0-3 in SEC play. John Calipari, the new coach at Arkansas, 0-3 for the Razorbacks. That was a surprise. Their program and the amount of money they're paying Calipari, the amount of expectation on Arkansas basketball. They were ranked just a few weeks ago. They are now 0-4. The Tigers, with a victory, they were trailed by 2 at half, ended up winning a game, held on at the end, and had a nice win. Cam Carter was the superstar, 27 points. Cam Carter, 7 of 15 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3. It seemed like he had more threes than that. So that shows you how big those threes were. But 10 for 10 from the free throw line. And here's the thing. LSU basketball has not always been known as a great free throw shooting team in the history of the program. I mean, you go back 50 years. Cam Carter was 10 for 10 from the free throw line. LSU basketball was shot over 90% as a team from the free throw line and did an excellent job. And that was the difference. They were very good from the free throw line, and they either had the same amount of rebounds or maybe out rebounded Arkansas by one. It was, usually LSU, when they lose, they get out rebounded, and their shooting percentage is way down. Last night they stroked the three, and they rebounded, and they shot free throws very, very well, and they just enough to really get past Arkansas. So the Tigers show signs of life. They're now 1-3 on the season. And for Arkansas, oh my, 0-4. You don't get what you pay for up in Fayetteville. All right, TK, can you hear us, Tommy? I don't know if you can hear us. All right, so we're moving on to the college football playoffs officially. I know we've talked about it on this show. I know we've talked about it on Sports Shorts Radio. I've officially put my money where my mouth is for the national championship game on Monday night. I will be there at the game on Monday night in Atlanta. Ohio State, according to my line, the one that matters, I've got a 8.5 point. Ohio State's an 8.5 point favorite. Now, I know Tommy told us the other day on the show that Ohio State was an 8-point dog, as low as an 8-point, favorite. If you can get that line, great, jump on it. I took it at 8.5. Remember, it opened up at 9.5, went to 10. Now it went all the way back down to 8.5. So Ohio State, 8.5 point favorite. I did take the Buckeyes for a little bit of cash. And I'll tell you that I think even though Ohio State is an 8.5 point favorite, I'm not as confident about that bet as I would like to be. I did see Verge Osbury, the former LSU linebacker, assistant athletic director at LSU, and of course his son is a middle linebacker for Notre Dame. Look for him in the national championship game. If you don't know already, he's number 4, plays linebacker for Notre Dame on one of the best defenses. They're the number 2 scoring defense in America. Ohio State is number 1. And I saw Verge last night at the LSU basketball game, and I told him, hey, look, if I'm going to lose my bet, that means that hopefully you guys win the game and you win the national championship. And it's an exciting time for the Osbury family. Verge, of course, grew up in New Iberia, played at LSU in the late 80s, and then late 80s at linebacker, and then, of course, has been in LSU athletics since, I don't know, early 90s, mid 90s, something like that. And so anyway, I actually think Ohio State is going to hammer Notre Dame. I could be wrong. I didn't think Notre Dame would beat Penn State. I was wrong there. I didn't think Notre Dame would beat Georgia. I was wrong there. What they proved to me in both of those games is their defense is legit and their offense is just gritty. Their team is just gritty. They obviously have the identity of their coach and Freeman, and they just find a way. But I just don't know if find a way and just 3 yards in a cloud, it doesn't. Just get that first and just keep matriculating the ball down the field. If that's going to be enough against Ohio State offense, that particular, it has the potential to be super explosive and so many weapons. I know they held the receivers down, and it was a wonky one for Ohio State this past game, but I don't think you're going to hold them down twice in a row. I think you're going to make the adjustments. I think they're too much firepower. And, oh, by the way, they're facing a defense that's even better than Notre Dame. So I like Ohio State, and I'm pretty comfortable with that 8.5 point spread. The TGL golf, if you have not watched it, we'll talk plenty about it on Friday. We're having some technical difficulties with TK. Tommy's computer looked like it crashed. We'll talk to him on Friday morning, and he'll tell us all about TGL. They had the big Tiger Woods introduction. It's all over social media. Hopefully, if you haven't watched, you'll get a chance to see enough. Friday, you'll enjoy Tommy's breakdown. He had a friend at the TGL golf in Florida, and we'll get his reaction as well as Tommy. We'll talk about it as well. It was quite the production and pretty incredible. LSU baseball, the first pitch banquet is Thursday night. That means that's kind of the start of, I guess, kick off the college baseball season, especially depending on how LSU men's basketball goes over the coming weeks. Will kind of determine how much, folks talk about LSU baseball and stuff like that, because if they start to lose a lot, then a lot more coverage, a lot more conversation, a lot more people. When's that LSU baseball season start? But the first pitch banquet is Thursday night. And Jay Johnson will introduce the team. We'll have some fundraiser aspect of it. I'll be doing the live auction at that event. There'll be a lot of former players, of course, that will be there as well. I'm assuming we'll have a Paul Skeens, Dylan Cruz sighting and all that. But we'll talk about that on Friday morning, a lot about Sports Shorts Daily on Friday morning. We'll talk about the first pitch banquet, anything that I've learned, anything interesting that came out of it. I will pass along to you on Friday morning. The just if you haven't made plans, make sure you go by LeBear's. Go to the, if you don't want to watch it at home, you want to be where the fans are, you want to be having a little fun. Sportsbook at LeBear's is where you need to be this week for the NFL playoffs. It is going to ratchet up. I will say that on Monday night, Tommy and I were both losers. We both took the Minnesota Vikings, as a lot of people did. They were a 2.5-point favorite. Kudos to the Rams, who overcame a lot. Obviously, personally, with what's going on, they played outstanding. The Vikings did not. And, for the Minnesota Vikings to win 14 games, to not host the playoff, to lose and not win a playoff game, and now you got to have questions about your starting quarterback. You thought you had the story of the decade. You thought you had resurrected Darnold's, career, a former, first-round pick, franchise quarterback who flamed out in New York. You thought you figured it out and looked like a genius. Well, now you have to question, after the last two games, the debacle against the Lions, the debacle against the Rams. And look, I know football is a team sport, 11 guys, all that. You got to block, got to attack. But I think this did enough to give pause to the Vikings, and they've got to do their own internal evaluation to see what they have, what they can get, where are they in the draft, who they like, before they load the Brinks truck up to Sam Darnold and give him some big contract and say, you're going to be our quarterback for the next 3 years. Because that's where this thing was headed. And now after the last two games, you have to question, okay, we thought Kirk Cousins was the guy, and then that didn't work out and we traded him. We thought we found Sam Darnold. What an unbelievable year, 14 wins, but then we lose the last two in so horrible fashion. He plays so terrible. You have to wonder, does he have what it takes to take us to the next level? He's a good backup, might even be a very good, starting quarterback in the league, but he's not big game playoff quarterback. Those are the questions you're going to have. So interesting time for Minnesota. You went from the White House to the outhouse in a matter of 2 weeks. And now, Darnold's people are scrambling to figure out where they're going to be next year. We're going to be in Minnesota, going to be somewhere else. We thought we were going to get $200 million. Maybe we need to lower expectations. It's going to be a wild time. But now we'll turn to that part. As far as the New Orleans Saints go, Mickey Loomis had his State of the Union address yesterday, sort of that end of the year. Remember last year, the famous gum chewing State of the Union that everybody criticized. And he was delusional about Dennis Allen being, this awesome coach. And he could mention Bill Belichick in the same breath and all that stuff. A little different tone this time. Didn't reveal many details. Took a humbling approach. Did stand by his statement that he thought Dennis Allen was a very good coach. Didn't say head coach, but he thought he was a very good football coach. And again, nothing really came of it other than to say he wasn't sure what his draft position was. At one point he said, I think we draft 9th, and then somebody went, or somebody, I think we draft 10th, and somebody went, no, you draft 9th. Oh, we draft 9th. The fact that everyone else knew it but him is shocking. And then he didn't admit. People wanted to pin Mickey Loomis down and say, is this a rebuild? Are you going after a rebuild situation? And he basically said, look, I know we're $60 million over the cap or whatever it is. He said, but it's not what you think. We have more players under contract than any other team in the league. And there's a lot of factors that people don't realize. We're not in as bad a situation as just that over the cap. So maybe that gives you a little less panic. Maybe Joel Davis won't jump off the bandwagon just yet. All right, we'll be back on Friday morning for more Sports Shorts Daily presented by LeBear's Casino. Appreciate you for hanging in there with us today. We had some technical difficulties with TK's laptop. I think it crashed in the middle of us talking early on. We're presented by Tremonti's, and of course, special thanks to LeBear's Casino, where we'll be broadcast twice a month on Sports Shorts Radio. Tune in Friday for more Sports Shorts Daily, and then, of course, don't forget Sports Shorts Radio every Saturday morning, 10 to noon, ESPN Radio, Lake Charles, Lafayette, Baton Rouge. We'll see you Friday, everybody.